Welcome to the 2025 Halloween show. I'm starting off tonight with a review of Shelby. This film was written and directed by YouTube film reviewer Chris Stuckman. This film started out as a Kickstarter campaign where a whole bunch of people contributed to it, including me, and it's finally been released. This film was, of course, acquired by Neon, which gave it a lot more, I feel, kind of release than it would probably have had when it was more independent. And I will say, this is not a bad debut for Chris Stuckman. You can really tell that they have a lot of potential when it comes to writing screenplays and directing. There's just some really kind of rougher moments in this film that, they're very new at this. You can kind of tell it. And I will say, as one of the backers to this film, we got a lot of behind the scenes, footage and stuff. So it was really cool to see all of those moments unfold on the big screen. That was really cool. This film, of course, follows Mia, who's still dealing with their disappearance of their sister, Riley Brennan, 12 years ago. Paranormal investigator on YouTube. And I really did like that opening to this film. It's very experimental with this kind of documentary style as they're exploring what happened in the after effects before it got more linear with Mia. And I will say I really did enjoy how that story unfolded with Mia kind of learning a lot more about the dark secrets that happened that night to their sister. And we, of course, see that entity Taryn, which is very terrifying, and we get to see their true motive at the end of this film. The ending of this film was a bit rushed for me, but I still thought it was okay. It just seemed like everything just happened so quickly. And I think a little bit more time with that polishing with the script could have really helped the ending. But yeah, Shelby Oaks was a pretty good start for Chris Stuckman. I think they do have a lot of potential. They just have to improve just a few things with kind of, the scripting and directing style. But I will say, they knew how to direct horror. I can tell you that. They definitely did really good with getting those very tense moments. And I will say, some of the performances that they had in this film were really good. They picked great performers. What did you all think of Shelby Oaks? Let me know in the comments. And now let's review Black Phone 2. When this film was first announced, I felt it was very unnecessary. The first film was really good and felt very self-contained and like it did not need a sequel. But of course, this is Hollywood. If a film is somewhat successful, they will do a sequel. Sometimes it works out, and others it's like Joker 2, and you just want to forget they even watched it. But like earlier this year, they released Megan 2.0. I didn't even watch that film still, and I heard some very not so positive things about that one, especially how they switched up the whole formula of, the film compared to the first film, and it just wasn't as good. I still need to watch it and give it a fair chance. So with the Black Phone 2, I was very curious with this one because it did kind of switch up kind of how it was done compared to the first film. It's a lot more of that supernatural elements with, of course, the grabber is now, dead, and they come through this black phone now in more of a spiritual sense, like all their past victims at this campground. And I will say, it does work. I really did enjoy this film. We get to see the after effect for Finney and how they're dealing with their encounter with the grabber and what happened to them 4 years ago. But I also like how this film was more of a focus on their sister, which I think was really a good idea because you really got to see that the first film was Finney's story, and now you get to see Gwen's story, which is using a lot of these kind of dreamlike sequences and that connection to the grabber communicating to them. But really, we also get to see a lot more about what happened to their mom, which I was not sure what to think about with that part of it. Definitely an interesting reveal. But I will say, the grabber is terrifying in this film, just like the first film. But now that they are just like this entity that's sneaking up on them in this kind of wintry campground, that was really cool. But yeah, I think this was a really good film. I liked a lot of the cast that were in this film, and I liked the setting. It felt very much more kind of eerie, but a lot more bigger than just a basement now. It's this whole campground with the snow, and their very first victims of the grabber are communicating with Finney, and they have to rescue them to stop the grabber from killing them. I think it's a great film. What did you all think of the Black Phone 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Well, that's it for tonight. I really hope you enjoyed this year's Halloween show, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.